Welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great.
Welcome to the Honors Podcast.
You have a good day today.
Yeah. It was freshman orientation, so
Yeah.
I was up kind of early. I was working at like 7 a.m., but
Yeah, what's your job?
I'm a university ambassador, so I give tours for the institution and I help out with on-campus event days like freshman orientation, open houses, presidential scholars weekend, stuff like that.
That's very fun. I'm sure that's not all you do. And here's what I do know about you.
Yeah.
Why don't you start off by saying your name? I forgot to ask you that.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Taylor Galavotti.
Galavotti. That's a good name. I was like writing it on my notes earlier and it was kept trying to autocorrect. I was like, I know that's your name.
No,
One
it's
O, two T's.
literally, it's not that hard, but
Do you know the
people-
etymology of that?
Actually, I had to do that for an honors project when Dr. Allen had us like trace the lineage of our names, and it comes from like the small village in Italy that my family's apparently from on my dad's side. So that's all we could find
That's
as far
very
as
good.
etymology
Yeah, I
goes.
took that class too, Dr. Allen. She's great.
Where does Wheeler come from?
It's English.
Does it come from wheel?
Maybe. I didn't get that deep into it. It was just like Wheeler, British. My ancestors made wheels. Wasn't too much to it.
Not that
It
serious.
was good. My first name is a big Scottish tribe.
Oh.
Like one of those Scottish like Gaelic tribes and all that. And it means redheaded.
Shut up.
Which
So
I am
why is
not.
my name not Reed? Like, hello?
Yeah.
That's
Or, like
LOL.
Rita or something.
Yeah, seriously. Rita? That actually sounds a little
Yeah.
bit more legit.
So yeah, you were like the most famous redhead in the honors program.
I would say that I'm one of them. There are
Yeah.
more, right?
I feel like in your grade you're the only one.
Am I the only one? I don't want to say that and that'd be wrong.
Someone will call us out on it.
Oh, Ava Kitchens, but she graduated in December.
She did.
Yeah.
Right. She was real red hair.
She had bright red hair,
Yeah, that's fine.
but hers was straight, not curly like mine.
All right. So here's what I know about you.
Okay.
And your fame. You are a neuroscience and English double major.
Truth.
You are originally from Kentucky.
Correct.
You have a sister, older or younger?
Younger.
Younger, who studies aerospace engineering.
And political science at the University of Alabama.
Wow. And political science. That's fun. I don't know if I want robots. No, not robots. Rockets. To
Yeah.
get political.
Scared.
We'll see what she does. And I know you are a Fullbright semi-finalist
That is true. Knock on
For-
wood, cross fingers, all those
Yeah.
things.
for Timor-Leste.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce it?
Timor-Leste, but you're
Timor-Leste.
close enough.
Let's go. Where is that?
It's a small island nation in between like Indonesia and Australia. It's like right here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's a good climate. Mm-hmm. That was fun.
Lots of sun, lots of sand, lots of ocean.
Where are you in that, like, where are we in the process of...
Yeah, so Fulbright is interesting. It's kind of goes country to country. So for me, I was named a semifinalist back in January, at the end of January. And that's when the national kind of decision went out. And that was after I got reviewed basically by a big community of Fulbright panelists basically, and I made it through like the national review. So the United States was like, she's a good kid, let's send her off. And then my application got forwarded over to the commission in Timor-Leste and the U.S. Embassy over there for them to review my application. So it kind of goes from the United States to your host country. So now I'm in host country review. They might ask me to interview if they want to learn a bit more about me, or they might just make a decision, and that should be happening anytime from early to mid-April. So
Okay. So next up is either get an interview or get a decision.
yeah, so a little bit scary, but we're pushing through.
That's very exciting. I manifest that for you.
Thank you.
Great. And we have a lot of other great honor students who have
A fat
Fulbright,
chunk.
other scholarship, fellowship things. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of honors kiddos that were just named Fulbright semifinalists, either alumni or current students that are seniors and graduating.
Yeah, that's very cool. Back to Kentucky, because I don't meet too many people from Kentucky.
No, we're kind of niche.
Yeah. So, what was that like? How did you grow up?
Yeah, so
What's the origin story?
Oh,
of Taylor
LOL.
Galavotti?
Yeah, so I'm from Lexington, so that's one of the bigger cities in Kentucky. It's about, when I was growing up, it was like 300,000 people. So it's a decent sized city, so a little bit different than like when you think of Kentucky, you think of like horse farm and stuff like that. But I lived in a pretty suburban area, and I was lucky that like the public education system in Lexington was pretty strong, particularly my high school, but a lot of like the surrounding counties, not so much. But also, if you went 20 minutes really in any direction from where I lived, you ended up at a horse farm. So it was a really interesting way to grow up, kind of knowing like I guess like the national understanding of Kentucky, and then being from Lexington, which is pretty urban and like isn't as, I don't know, it doesn't lean the same way politically as a lot of the rest of Kentucky does, but you still kind of carry that, I guess, like knowledge or wisdom that you're from Kentucky, which I think is interesting. I think the Southern hospitality thing carries through regardless of where you're from, city or more rural areas. But I don't know, like I would travel I did Model UN in high school. I was a huge dork. So we would travel down to Virginia, and it was like national or international conferences, and there would be students from all over that were coming in. They'd be like, oh, you're from Kentucky? Like, why are your teeth so nice? And why are you wearing shoes? And things like that. I was like, well, it's funny you mentioned that. But
do people ever ask you about the Kentucky Fugates?
What do you mean? Oh, like the blue people?
The blue people.
Yeah, those got brought up in my genetics class, actually, when we were talking about, like, incest or something like that. I go, oh my god, you guys will not believe this. And then randomly also came up a second time. I was taking a theory of the novel class last semester now, and we were talking about the idea of cousin marriage that's really prevalent in, like, Victorian texts, specifically, like, Jane Austen and things like that, and the Brontes as well. And so we were talking about cousin marriage, and then I was like, and we were like, we are all a little bit like we are rubbed the wrong way by things like that, but back then it was like kind of normal, and I was like, oh yeah. And then the blue people, and everybody was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, they grew up in the same state as me, and they were just a big incestuous family that had some problem with like silver consumption and also incest that turned them blue, which was really interesting, and I'm glad that that's our legacy, is blue people and incest. So
I went on a whole deep dive in my science honors class last semester, how molecules shape experience, and we were talking about silver lead poisoning, and back in the 1920s in New York, some guy was blue from like
there's a new guy that's blue. He's like our age now.
There's different people.
Yeah, I think there's somebody blue right now.
There's different ways to become blue. So there's that way, but then the Fugates were also linked into that. So I went on this rabbit hole. I already kind of knew about it, into like the Kentucky Fugates, and that they still exist, but there's like, it's a type of blood disorder where you don't process hemoglobin or something, and that like turns
your blood's
blue,
probably not super oxygenated, I guess, then, right?
So so a lot of people still have it, but there's a pill for it now.
Oh, so you're not blue
people just
anyway.
take.
I see.
And prevents them from turning blue.
Well, how are we going to know if they're incestuous or not? If they're not turning blue, like, maybe we should take this pill off the market.
I feel like it's a very secretive thing. Like, I turn blue if I don't take this pill.
It's like werewolf thing. Or like you can turn into Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Or a Smurf.
Oh, I love the Smurfs.
Me too.
Smurfs is a great movie.
Did you know that Rihanna is Smurfette?
Hmm?
Rihanna is Smurfette. She's the voice of Smurfette.
Rihanna who?
Rihanna.
Oh.
Like Rihanna.
Rihanna. Then why was it a Britney Spears post-credit song?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person. I just know that she turned her little icon to be like, you know how it's like the stick figure with like the hair sticking out? She turned it to be a blue stick figure with yellow hair sticking out. Wow. Because she's Smurfette.
In the like live action movies?
Oh no. Like in the like the cartoons that they like the new one that's coming out like Smurfs 4 or something like that. Oh. She's the voice of Smurfette.
Oh wow.
Isn't that interesting?
So no, like the live action one with Neil Patrick Harris?
Yes, the live action one with Neil Patrick Harris. She's the voice of Smurfette in that one.
That's fun.
Yeah, and like Cat.
She has all these like secret.
I don't know what she's doing. Anything but dropping the album, I fear.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she's got a baby.
Yeah, she has like a child and like a beauty brand.
And all that.
And billions of dollars to deal with.
That was fun. So that's interesting, growing up with kind of weird polar
Yeah.
So you weren't like a horse girl?
No. My sister was, though. She was huge into horses. No, I played soccer for a long time and then played volleyball, but my sister was huge into horses. Yeah, we didn't really... We grew up with like a bit of a backyard and like open spaces to play and stuff like that, but not anything like work in the fields or whatever.
You know, I worked on a field.
Yeah?
I like grew up in a farm county.
Yeah. No,
like
not my truth.
381 people.
That's how my mom grew up. That's like the town she came from.
Like the Appalachian bluegrass.
Just hanging out in them mountains.
Traversing barefoot.
Traversing. Please, I'm crying.
Yeah, it was very good. Cabbage season was always stinky.
You big into cabbage like that?
Well, it's like industrial agriculture.
Yeah.
And it's just huge acres of cabbage.
Bro, I didn't know.
And cabbage stinks
when
it's growing. It smells very bad.
Disgusting.
It's very beautiful, but it smells bad.
It smells like...
Strawberry season is where it's at. Like, we're famous for our strawberries.
Wait, that's cute.
In Northeast Georgia, tips of the mountains. So, yeah, it's fun. So, yeah, I kind of feel like a little bit of polarization. Because then I went to a nice school, too.
Yeah.
And it was, like, urbanized and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I got, like, the bluegrass.
You're like, I grew up in farmland, but now I'm here.
Yeah.
It's
like good experience.
Yeah.
It's good cultural. People should work hard and do all that stuff. Anyway, I want to ask you, do you have a TV show or a book series that you were obsessed with as a child as part of your upbringing?
Yeah. Let me think. It's probably going to be a book series, English major and all that. I was really big into Percy Jackson, which I know is like, so everybody was into Percy Jackson, but like I was into it on like a crazy level. I dressed up not as like one of the demigods from the books, but a demigod that I created for Halloween. And so I was, like, me and my friends took it very, very seriously. We were like, oh my God, I am a child of this Greek god. Like, we were almost convinced. So, what's funny is that I said I was a child of Demeter, but I can't grow and or keep plants alive. And I was like, no, like, this is something that's going to happen for me now. Like, I know this is going to happen. And so we had, like, weapons that we chose out that were specific for us. And I think this was also around Hunger Games. So I was like, oh, I have a bow and arrow, whatever. And I have, like, poison arrows, and that's, like, my thing. So I'd be, like, poison ivy. But, yeah, so we went as those characters that we created for Halloween. And so people were like, oh, who are you guys? And we were like those kind of like, we were in that age where we were like, you don't even know what we're talking about. Like, you don't even know. Like, this is like niche. You don't even understand this. So I was really huge into those books. I'm trying to think of a TV series that I was huge into.
Like, did you have like a really young age show you were raised on? Because I was raised on like Thomas the Train.
Oh, I was raised Little Einsteins. Do you know Little Einsteins?
Yes, everyone, Little Einsteins.
They were my
like
they were my
high
bros.
School, that was just a song people sing randomly.
And I was like, you don't know this. Like, I know this.
Yes.
Yeah, no, my mom I think she really wanted me to be, like, smart, and so she played those videos for us, like, all the time. And we were only allowed to watch Disney Channel as kids. Like, we couldn't watch, like, Cartoon Network or anything like that.
Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon.
No.
So, yeah, like, I never saw SpongeBob or anything.
No, me neither. Never saw SpongeBob.
It was too dirty.
And also, my family was, like, very big about, like, staying clean. And so every Saturday was, like, the day we would clean the whole house and everything like that. And the rule was that if we could get up before our parents and watch TV, but we always had to, like, once our parents got up, that's when we started cleaning and everything like that. So my sister and I would get up at like 6 a.m. on Saturday when you're supposed to be sleeping in, resting, doing the whole kit and caboodle. And we would stay up and we would get up really early and watch those TV shows. But the problem was all the cool ones, like all the new ones, didn't air until like 9 a.m. And so my sister and I were like 3 or 4 years behind on TV shows. Like, we were raised on, like, Kim Possible and Phineas and Ferb, which are, like, the shows that, like, 25-year-olds resonate with. And, like, kids our age are like, oh, Jessie, oh, Sweet Life on Deck, like, all these shows. Mm-hmm. Like, Wizards of Waverly Place even, like, things like that didn't come on until later. So I feel like characteristically old when it comes to cartoons because I watch them a little bit, like, late, I guess.
No, I feel like that too. I did love Jessie, but I am obsessed with Phineas and Ferb. Did you know they're rebooting it?
Yes, and I think it's going to be bad.
But it's the exact same creators.
I know, but I feel like it's going to be bad because I feel like this always happens when they reboot a show. They try and bring, like, a new global understanding into it, and they try and turn it into something to teach kids lessons. Phineas and Ferb was just to watch kids get up to antics, do whatever they wanted, build whatever they wanted, and then everybody laughed at Candace. That was the whole thing. And now I think they're going to be like, oh yeah, and girls can do science too, which I think is important. Let's not get it twisted, but I don't think it's going to have the same nostalgic charm.
Maybe.
That's my fear.
I don't know. I think it will be good.
I think Dave, first name D, yeah. Povenmire is still funny. Like, I see him on TikTok and stuff like that, and he's still funny, which I like. But I'm really, really nervous for this. I'm, like, scared that they're going to ruin it.
Well, we'll see. You know what absolutely is ruined is Dora the Explorer.
Oh,
because she's 3D now.
Oh, no.
She's like a 3D little Dora.
I'm sorry, no. I don't believe in that.
I know, it's like Cocomelon. It's like that animation, but Dora the Explorer.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I feel like the 2D animation, just like the
Kinda
picture book
died.
style, has a charm to it.
Yeah, and I think it's nostalgic and fun, but I guess kids want something that's more realistic nowadays, ? I don't know.
Why would they want something more realistic when the entire point of being a child is having an imagination?
Exactly. Somebody call up Disney. Did you see the Disney Channel's getting the boot? They're like going bankrupt. There aren't going to be any more Disney Channel shows. Like no more Jessie, no more Sleep Off on Deck.
Yeah.
Everybody's on TikTok now and Instagram Reels.
Oh, those actors?
Well, yeah, no, like they're doing away with the channel.
Yeah, I heard that.
Like
everything is the parks now.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus. And
so they're
Marvel.
not even going to make new shows.
Because, like, there's nothing new to make.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like.
I think the last thing that I remember being horrible was Bunked, which was like the kids from Jessie at summer camp.
Yeah.
Horrible, deeply bad.
Even with when it was like the first 3 seasons with them, I liked it when
You
it was
did?
still the OG cast. I just was like mad that Luke wasn't in it.
Yeah. Rest in peace, my king.
Rest in peace. It was great, but then they like completely revamped it.
And that's what happened to Descendants too, because I was huge into Descendants.
It's a little,
which is a little.
Young. I mean, everyone.
No, literally. And so my sister and I would watch it, and we were like, we are too old to be watching this. But we didn't care. Descendants 1 and 2, fire. Descendants 3, horrible. I've only seen it once, and it was really, really bad.
Did you watch the whatever it was?
Number 4?
Yeah.
No.
For gigs.
Was it bad? Did you see it?
Yes.
Was
it
bad?
Absolutely horrendous with like the daughter of the Queen of Hearts.
Yes, and it was apparently like really bad. I heard that it was really bad.
It was really bad. There's absolutely no plot.
No plot. It's just girls.
Like, they were making another movie, ran out of budget, cut the current movie in half, and just ended it there.
Because Descendants 1 and 2, I'll say this, fire movies.
Yeah.
And like the soundtrack, also fire. I have some of their songs on my running playlist.
Although, Queen of Mean from Descendants 3.
Yeah. Was that one good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay, I don't remember.
I'm the Queen of Mean.
I don't think I remember.
It was good. It was like the princess.
Which girl sang it?
Sleeping Beauty's daughter. She was like the mean.
Is that when she like freaked
bully.
out and went like evil or something? Or was
Yeah.
it? Oh.
She like turned evil. She stole the scepter or something.
Yeah, she stole the crown or the stick or
She's
I don't know. Exactly.
Very fun. Because like long nails is like an evil girl. Oh, it was fun. Well, that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll cut that out. Yeah, so you grew up. You had a good childhood?
Yeah, I think so. I had fun.
That was great. And then you came to High Point
Then
University.
I came here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. You know it.
4-ish years ago?
7 years ago. But actually just 4 years ago.
Yeah. So when you were that senior in high school and then freshman in college, what were you looking for?
In like a school?
Yeah. What were you looking for in life, in school?
That's a big question.
back.
I think one thing that's important is COVID. So
Yeah.
I came to school in 2021. So COVID happened in like the spring of my junior year of high school. So no junior prom, nothing like that. And my school was fully virtual until it was almost like I think halfway through our spring semester of senior year is when we went back full time. We had a senior prom. It was like kind of normal, kind of not normal. It was like there wasn't like the big lead up to it that there normally is. So I think I was really looking for, because I missed out on like what I thought was a real high school experience, I was really looking for like a true college experience. And I really kind of gravitated towards like I wasn't really big into like the idea of like a big SEC school or anything like that. Like I wanted that niche, cool, liberal arts institution, like very Dead Poets Society, very secret history. Like that's what I was after. I wanted like a really close-knit community, I think, and kind of like the wiggle room to study what I wanted. I came in as a neuroscience major, pretty convinced that I was going to do science all 4 years, and just part of me was like, oh, I'll be a doctor, LOL. No, that's not happening.
Were you always growing up being like, I'll be a doctor?
Yeah, I actually had, my pipe dream when I was a child, when I was in like the 5th grade, I told my dad that I wanted to be a National Geographic photojournalist. Like, that was my dream.
I see that.
Right?
I really see that.
And I told everybody in my family that I really wanted to do that. So my uncle, for my birthday, bought me a National Geographic subscription for a year. I still have all of them. And it's like and I still have, they gave you a bag at the end of the year that was made out of like recycled editions of National Geographic. And I still have it. It's like stapled together because I love it so much. But, yeah, so that was my dream. And then my dad, both my parents are engineers, important context, so they're very, like, I guess you could call them industrial or just realistic, I guess. But my dad was like, well, Taylor, if you want to be a National Geographic photojournalist, you have to wait for one of the current National Geographic photojournalists to retire or die. And I was like, well, I don't want anybody to die. And I don't want to take away anybody's job. So that died sort of quickly. And then from there, I was like, I'll be a doctor. And then that went down the drain, and now I'm here, and I don't know what's happening. But, yeah, so I liked the flexibility and things like that, because I came in neuroscience, and that was, like, my thing. I was like, I took an AP Psych class in high school, like most of us did, and I was like, yeah, this is super cool. Like, I like this. It seems really fun. Got to school, I was like, oh, well, I want, like, harder science. Like, I think that's interesting to me. Like chemistries and stuff like that. That seems super dope. So I'll continue down that way. And then, yeah, ended up here after applied to like, I think 10 schools or something like that, and ended up here. So
That's good.
That's me.
And at our institution, we have an honors organization, and then we have these fellows, natural science,
Yeah.
which was probably the other one you were looking at. Why did you decide to join honors?
It's actually such a stupid answer. I didn't realize that you couldn't be in both. My plan was to be in both, and so
Mine was too.
I just clicked the honors program first. Like, and then after that, like, my fellows invitation went away. I was like, oh, interesting. I was interested in both programs. Like, I think I was interested in honors for, like, intellectual reasons, I guess, and, like, the idea of, like, a different set of general education requirements. I was also really, really into the idea of Finch. Like, that living learning community was something that, like, really immediately attracted me to the school, because I'd kind of grown up in honors programs my whole life, low-key. So I was in, like a small, like, cluster program when I was in elementary school, and kind of continued on from there. I was in, like,
gifted class?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was one of them dorks.
Did you read The Hatchet?
No.
Because I was in, like, it wasn't like a gifted class. It was just, like, once a week, the smart kids got together and we just, like, read books.
Oh, so we did that, but the smart kids got together and they went to basically where all of the big computers were stored. You know, like, the big things that, like, beep and screech at you. Like, it's, like, the mainframe of the school.
The computer lab?
No, but there was no computers. It was just, like, big beeping boxes. And so that
like
was
the
in
server room.
The server room, yes, that. And there was, like, one table set up in there, and there were, like, 7 of us, and we would do, like, logic puzzles. They took us away.
Like, Sally, Sarah, and Betty all go to the fair, and you gotta figure out who does what and who brings what.
Yes, those, like, box puzzles. Do you know what I mean?
There was a magazine about that. Brain magazine.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But that's what they took us to do in elementary school. And then in middle school, we took specific classes, and we were all in a group together. And I really responded to that community, I guess. Like,
yes.
That academic community, that was something I was huge into. And I really liked it. I didn't have to, I don't know, this sounds bad, but, like, be embarrassed about wanting to learn. I feel like I had some, like, I was on the volleyball team in middle school and high school and stuff like that, so there were some people that weren't I had some friends that weren't in that kind of fellowship program, and they just didn't care, and that's totally okay. They just prioritized other things in their lives, and it wasn't like they made me feel bad to, like, be so invested in my education or whatever. There just wasn't what they prioritized, which is fine, but it was like a differing point for us, and so I was excited about the idea of academic community here, so, yeah.
And then you went into it, and it proved to be true.
Yeah, and yeah, it really did. I just never have to really apologize for, like, liking my schoolwork or enjoying my classes. I mean, some people have their own opinions, but that's not me. So.
That's good. And what was the vibe in Finch? Because with, like, the COVID context.
Yeah, it was interesting. So here at school, it was 2021, like fall of 2021. So we were fully masked in the dorm. Like, you could take your mask off in your room, obviously, with your roommate. So you kind of existed, like, you shared this immunity, which I think was interesting. It kind of bonded me and my roommate together a lot. But then anytime you were outside, like on the halls and stuff, they asked you to mask until it lifted in 2022. Guilford County, we abided by the rules of Guilford County. And so, 2022, I think they lifted the mask mandate. I want to say in, like, February or March is when they lifted it. And then from there, I still wore mine for a little bit just because I didn't totally trust some people. And I was one of those that, like, kept wearing mine because I was just, like, a little nervous. Yeah. But I think I called my mom and I was like, is it okay? And she's like, you know what? It's better that you kind of take it off, build your immunity up, everything like that. And I was like, okay. So I think I took mine off in April. But once that mask mandate lifted, it was literally, like, just back to normal. The only thing that changed was, like, if you got diagnosed with COVID, then you had to go, like, to the La Quinta off camp, and they put you in a hotel for like 10 days.
I heard about the setup. They like had all the hotels bought out. And
oh yeah, I had to go to one at the end of freshman year.
Oh, you got
my roommate got COVID, and it was really tough because it was her birthday. So we were really like looking forward to celebrating and everything like that. She's like, I just feel really bad. Whatever. Went to student health. Turns out she had COVID, and then you know how all the close contacts got like found out, and then they were like, okay, you have to take a COVID test, whatever. So me and my friend Tatiana drove to like a Walgreens, and we were like doing COVID tests, and we're like, oh, this is not good. It was brutal. But yeah, so we, all three of us, me and then my roommate at the time, who is no longer here, and then Tatiana and I all were like in a row down like this hallway on the top floor of this La Quinta in Greensboro. I don't actually even, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember how I got there. Oh, I drove there. Did I drive there? I don't know. I like have memory blackout about it, but like 3 times a day they would come by and drop food off for us. They would just knock on the door and then run away. It was so funny because that was like the only thing we were excited about, because like it was finals week, and so I like got all my homework done. I couldn't really take any of my tests, and so I was just like sitting there going crazy, like all 3 of us. So we were on FaceTime all the time, and we would play like those those like games like Crazy Eights and stuff like that. We would play those on our phones like for hours and hours and hours. And then our favorite thing to do would be to like exchange food items. So there's a insane video of me emerging from my hotel room as Tatiana and Hannah are rolling orange juice down the hallway that I'm collecting because they didn't want their orange juice. So it's just the 3 of us like up there like locked in, like kind of quarantined away from everybody. But yeah, no, I don't really feel like this is, I don't know, it's odd, but I don't think like our relationships really got stunted by it that much, because I don't think the school was super like adamant about it. I think that was part of it, and also it was like kind of on the tail end, and so people were like kind of already starting to like unmask and things like that, and there was some people that were just like, I don't believe in it, whatever, putting them aside. But
so you still got the bonding experience of the learning community you were looking for.
Yeah, I feel like I did.
Living
like
there, and then also being in classes.
Yeah, I think that was really important that we kind of ran those humanistic inquiry classes when we did, and that class community was really helpful. And then from there we kind of continued on building those communities. I don't feel like it was stunted that much, because I mean, yeah, it was the first semester, but you still had your roommate, you still had your suite mates, you were still kind of in and out of there. And we tried to keep up events, I feel like, as much as we could. We just kind of were outside a lot more. Like, that was another rule. Like, if you were outside, you didn't have to wear your mask. It was just like when you were inside. And so we played volleyball a lot, and we were out on promenade a lot. So we kind of circumvented as much as we could to still kind of build those relationships and stuff.
I wish we were outside more.
Yeah.
But, like, we're in school for the cold part of the year.
Yeah, seriously.
That's something I think about all the time. Like, sometimes I wonder if it would be better if the college year was, like, through the summer.
Yeah.
And, like, winter was our, like, hibernate off period.
Me.
It's like, no one wants to socialize, go to class.
No, I want to go to bed.
I know.
But I feel like summer would be fun, especially, like, with as many outdoor opportunities as we have. I think it would be fun.
Yeah, that's good. Like, the campus is built for summer.
It is. It's built for summer. Because I was here last summer, summer 2024, and I was doing research, and I was also working in the admissions office. And, oh my god, am I going to sneeze? Sorry. So I was working in the admissions office, like giving campus tours and stuff like that, and then also doing research over the zebrafish facility. Sorry, my nose is itchy. And I was here for the summer, and it was like, this is so a summer campus. Like, we were at the pool all the time, and we were playing volleyball and just walking around, like, because the sun set so late, so it was super duper fun. And I miss it a lot.
I've also stayed and worked over the summer.
And it's really good. It's a summer campus.
It's very chill. Especially for me, because I wasn't doing any homework or anything. No research.
Just hanging out.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Humanistic inquiry.
Yes.
That's where you met Dr. Hedman.
That is my king. I love him so much.
Do you remember what your impression was of meeting him, or have a top Hedman moment?
I'm trying to think of like a top Hedman moment. I don't know if I have one, but I just remember meeting him and being like, I want to be him when I grow up.
Yes.
Like, that was my mindset about it. I was like, he's so cool, and like that he just, I don't know. I just was like, I want to be him when I grow up. Like, that was my mindset. I was like, okay, so what do I have to do? And how am I going to go about this? And how am I going to be able to put my own spin on it and still be creative and fun and engaging? And I think that's where, like, it's not where my love of education started. I've been tutoring and all that sort of stuff forever. But it was kind of where I could see myself ending up. And I was like, this seems like a really cool place to be. And the one thing I remember about, like, one of my first memories, I guess, was like him saying, oh, like, I have something I need to give you. And I was like, oh, okay. Me thinking he was talking earlier about how his wife made scones the week before. I was fully convinced it was a scone. I was like, oh, you're bringing me a snack? Like, that's so kind of you. I was expecting scones. And it was a folder that was like, you should join the English department. Like, this is something that I think would be really, really cool for you. And I was like, so that's not a scone? Like, hello? I was kind of hungry, but whatever. I remember being like, oh, I skipped breakfast because I thought I was kidding us.
Breakfast for this, and you give me paper.
Literally, I was like, I can't eat this. Hello. And it was like before, we used to do these things. That was another way we built communities. We would do these walks, and they've kind of started resurging now, but like Hedman would set aside like 45 minutes once a week where we would anybody that was free could go on a walk around campus, and he like showed us all the cool spots. Like, we went through the back like Hayworth Gardens, and then like the amphitheater around Cottrell is like really fun. There's like a cute waterfall that runs through there. And so I was like, number one, I skipped breakfast because I thought I was getting a stone, and number two, you're gonna go make me walk around right now with this folder. But no, it was really great. And I was like, oh, like, this is somebody taking an interest in my education, but not just, like, my education for, like, professionalizing sake, but for the sake of education, like, for the sake of learning. And I was like, this is so dope. Like, this is something I can do. And he like, reminded me I have free will. And I was like, you know what? When you put it like that, like, maybe this is something I should pursue, or maybe this is something that would be interesting. And it's turned into, like, such a huge thing, and it's become a really big part of my life. Like, being a part of the English department, it's something I'm really proud of, and I really am proud to say and brag on and things like that. Yeah. So,
because like, it's a cool flex. Like, not everyone is just a neuroscience and English double major.
Yeah, I just love to brag on them. I feel like that's the thing. I'm like, this is such a cool department. There's so many cool people, and it's all of these people that are really interested in all these really big questions, and they're using literature as a method by which to answer them, and you see so much experience, and you see how smart they are. I think that's what I'm really, really drawn to, because like, all of the scientists at this school are so smart, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so crazy that your brain can think like that. But I'm also like really, really impressed by like how smart these people are. They operate on this level where they can kind of take these things in and really connect them. I think that's the coolest part for me, is like seeing like these branches and these connections, and how people have like dedicated their life to the study of this, and it's so cool that they know so much about it.
Yeah. And I imagine learning that might have helped with how you view your neuroscience studies, and then also the research you've been doing.
It's been really big. I feel like, I don't know, I didn't think it was that, I don't know, impactful, I guess. I was like, oh, this is just like a fun thing I do on the side, like akin to a hobby or a club. But it has informed the way that I kind of go about my science more and more, is because a lot of the work that I'm doing is kind of, I study, by the way, I'm studying the impact of embryonic fluoride exposure in zebrafish. So embryonic is just like when they're in this developmental stage. And so a lot of the work that we've been doing is like kind of on the forefront of this. And so it's really like a whole system model that we're kind of just studying to see, hey, what are the initial impacts of fluoride? Hey, like, where are we getting to a threshold that this is harmful? A lot of this work came out of a meta-analysis of basically looking at childhood cognition levels, specifically the impact of elevated levels of fluoride on childhood cognition, and it's not a very pretty picture. So we're not saying, just so everybody knows, we're not saying to remove fluoridated water systems. We don't think that's not what this research is telling us. A lot of the work is just kind of basically the opposite of it, I guess, like putting more money towards the EPA and other water regulation efforts to make sure that these fluoridation levels are staying where they're supposed to be. Because where they're supposed to be is fine. It's not showing up with any really harmful impacts, skeletal or kind of behavior-based, either way. It's just like these upper echelons that sometimes these rural communities can't control as well, that are kind of having this harmful impact that you're maybe seeing like a little bit more in the news. So we're saying fund the EPA, not take fluoride out of the water, because it's really important for dental care. Like it's one of the best things that we can do for rural communities that don't have access to dental care and things like that. It remineralizes your enamel, so it makes your teeth a lot stronger, and at the same time helps prevent the bacteria that form cavities. So it's really, really an impactful tool. Community water fluoridation, just want to make sure that's clear. But all this to say that kind of working at the whole system model and kind of being on the forefront of a lot of this work means that connections become really, really important, because you're having to connect this idea of treatment, and specifically negative treatment, to specific functions, and then from there, or specific changes, I guess is a better way to say it. You have to connect that to specific changes, and then connect those specific changes to what you know on like a foundational level about what could be happening. So it's not so much that you're kind of operating at this really micro scale where you kind of understand the processes and you have a pretty good theory about what's being impacted. This is more of like, okay, well, I know this from I know this from like my textbooks or from what I've learned in class, and then I now have to connect this to my bench work. And so that kind of idea of doing connection and also being really intentional with like picking up pieces of evidence and observation from my English degree has been super helpful in that.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
I really am like so impressed listening to you talk about that. It's just
it's
so
life.
Cool.
That's my life.
Too cool. It was fun. And here you are.
Here I
am.
am.
About to graduate.
Don't tell me. I'm scared. No, it's fine. I'm okay.
So I know you have some things lined up.
Yeah,
I have. Share what your options are.
Yeah, I've got.
Helen was telling me about it the other day. We started talking about you. And I was like, oh yeah, Taylor's doing this, but then she can also do this.
Yeah, no. People have low-key been. Actually, I didn't narc on myself. People narked on me and got me in a little bit of trouble because I told a couple of my advisors in the English department about some of my acceptances to grad programs, and I hadn't told everybody yet, but then they like bragged on me in the department meeting that Friday, and so I get a text from Hedman that's like, hey, so you didn't tell me about your grad school acceptances. Bad, Taylor. I was like, oh no. But yeah, so I applied to a couple of PhD programs in neuroscience and then a master's in English literature. So I got accepted to Indiana University School of Medicine's, that's how they run their graduate school. It's through their School of Medicine. So it's got a very clinical focus, which I think is cool. But I got accepted to their PhD program to study neuroscience. And then I also got accepted to a master's program that's fully funded, which is super dope and not normal, at the University of Kentucky to study English literature. So yeah, pretty dope.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So at least I have options and I won't be couch surfing for the year after graduation, which is exciting for me.
Well, if the Fullbright thing works out, that's your top goal? That's
my plan, yeah. And most programs will defer for that. Like, they'll be okay with that. If you're just kind of hopping across Europe, they're not going to be like, no, we're not going to hold your spot. Like, just come to school. But the Fullbright Award is something that would kind of turn that around. So, fingers crossed that I get it. I hope I do. But
that would be great.
I know.
And then also, as we approach graduation and you've completed this only 4-year journey.
Oh yeah.
Feels like more than that. But as we near graduation, what in your opinion is the point of college?
The point of college? Oh goodness. I think the point of college is to learn empathy. I feel like I was talking with my cousin about this the other day. She goes to Nazareth University, which is a small liberal arts school up in Rochester, New York. That's where a lot of my family's from. And we were kind of talking about, I guess, like kind of the divide between, like, a lot of my family is like holds more conservative politics, I guess you could say. And we were just talking about what's like locally known and completely understood in the political sphere, that people that have an experienced higher education or go into higher education, teach in higher education, tend to lean like left of center. And we were like, well, why do we think this is happening? Like, what do we think that this is kind of turning into, or how do you think that this is kind of a trend that's been established? And we kind of boiled down to like critical thinking and empathy is where we kind of come down on. And I think that was my biggest thing, is like learning empathy. I think like, not that you don't have it and you don't cultivate it over the years that you're kind of alive and in school and high school, public school, whatever, but more of just like having to really understand a bunch of different perspectives all at once, whether that's from your classmates, which is something you will have to do regularly, especially in our fun, cool liberal arts classes where you like argue and you have to debate this literally just using one piece of literature as text, like having to kind of understand both sides and things like that, and communicate with each other, but also to communicate with the documents that you're using. I think that's something that not a lot of people would maybe class as empathy, but something that I would. A lot of the work you're doing is understanding just the perspectives of different people, whether those are characters, whether those are scholars, anything like that, understanding where they're coming from, listening to what they're saying, and kind of making and coming to your own conclusions about that. But in order to do that, first you have to step into their shoes, whether that's their context, whether that's like how they grew up, or where they're from, or their gender, or the way they present themselves, anything like that. Like, you have to step into those shoes to understand how they came to those conclusions, whether they're fictional or real. So I think that would be my biggest thing. And I think I've definitely grown a lot and kind of understanding and developing perspectives, and also my own ideas on things. But I think my biggest strength that I've kind of developed through college is just really strengthening that idea of empathy.
That's great. That's a good answer.
Thank you. Right. It was a really perfect timing, because I was talking to my cousin about that like literally last night. She's flying in later. So
that's great. Well, to close out the podcast, I'd like you to be the founder of one of our traditions we're going to start for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be Leave a Question.
Okay.
So in this book, you can leave a question of your choice, life, philosophy, whatever you want, for the next guest on the podcast.
Okay, next guest on the podcast. I'm going to go green. That's one of my favorite colors. My favorite color is actually orange.
Choose your color as well.
Do I have to say the question out loud?
This is just a silent, you write it,
silent,
and then we're not going to hear about it until next episode.
Oh my god, this is exciting. Wait, this is really cute. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I stole it from another podcast.
You were like, plagiarism.
No, there's no such thing as original ideas. It's just borrowing and
There
changing.
is not, and I believe that. What was I going to write? Oh. Should I say who it's from, or will you just know? I'll date it. How's that?
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, it's your host, Reed Wheeler. Thank you so much for listening to the first episode of the Honors Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Spotify and Instagram to keep up on our latest episode releases. Until next time, stay curious.
And I'll just put my initials so they won't know. No.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you have fun?
Yeah, it was fun. I love to talk. You know me. Just love to run my mouth.
No. It was good.
Did I do good? Did I give good answers?
Yeah, you didn't cuss, and that was my main worry.
I did such a good job. I almost did. There was one time that I was like, and I did a really good job.
Yeah. It was good. It was great.